One question I got today from the folks at the Score in Chicago, and I decided to make that a topic for today's PFTPM. The question of why it seems like certain teams will downplay the significance of training camp and preseason injuries. And look, there's absolutely no requirement at this stage of the calendar for any team to say anything about any injured player. The obligation to make an injury report doesn't even arise until the week of the first preseason game. If you're playing on Sunday, you've got to do a report Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then it slides accordingly based on whether you're playing on Monday or Thursday or this year, Wednesday. Until that day comes, 3 or 4 days before the first game, you don't have to say a word about any player who is injured. And the only evidence that anyone has is based upon their roster status. If a player is still on the PUP list or the NFI list, we know he's not healthy. If a player is placed on injured reserve before the roster cuts, he's done for the year. Beyond that, we rely on reporting, and we try to read the tea leaves and discern the reliability of the things that the teams will say. And I think it's human nature to a certain extent to downplay it because there's an element of hope that it's all going to be fine. Rarely does a team right out of the gate say, yeah, it's done. Except when it's just obvious. The Jamal Adams injury, for example. It was obvious from the get-go that his season was over based upon the way Vikings players reacted, the way Coach Kevin O'Connell reacted at the time and at halftime of the preseason opener against the Giants. But for the most part, everyone does put on a happy face, but there's a strategic reason for it. Beyond the fact they're not required to do it. Again, they're not required to say anything. So it creates a little trough of inside information that lingers until the first injury reports come out. But if you're a team that is all of a sudden scrambling to replace a player, and maybe it's a key player who plays a position that you don't have a lot of depth on the roster already, what do? You keep it quiet so that you can go out and make a move with more leverage in any negotiations. Whether there's a free agent out there that you're hoping to sign, you don't need that free agent's agent to think you're more desperate than you would otherwise seem to be. You try to downplay it. Yeah, we're just trying to add some depth, trying to add some competition. No, we're scared. We're scared. Our guy's injured and we need to have somebody who's going to be here to replace him. There's no reason to wear that on your sleeve if you're a team. If you're looking to do a trade, same argument, because it all comes down to how badly you need the guy. And if the other teams know that you badly need the guy, the price goes up. Think back 10 years ago. In late August, Teddy Bridgewater's torn ACL ended his season for the Vikings, a season where they had some hope going into the first year at their new stadium. They had just gotten to the wild card round. They were a chip shot field goal away from beating the Seahawks and advancing to the divisional round. There was hope. Then all of a sudden there wasn't. They needed a quarterback. They were desperate. As Rick Spielman, who was the GM of the team at the time, said, nobody's going to cut you a break. They ended up giving a first-round pick and a fourth-round pick to the Eagles for Sam Bradford, who we thought was going to be the week 1 starter, but they had no qualms about moving Bradford and pivoting to Carson Wentz. So that's the reality. You want to be coy. You want to be able to address your needs, and you don't want the world to know how desperate you may be to get that guy on your team to replace the injured player whose injury is worse than they're letting on. And it just makes it more frustrating for fans. This is that time of year where you're just waiting for that random bolt of lightning to manifest itself with an alert on your phone that a key player has been injured, and then you wait for the coach to address it, and the coach downplays it, and then the reports come out. And even after the reports come out, you'll wonder, is it really worse than what it seems? And sometimes you find out that it is. But there is a method to the madness. It's not just wishful thinking. It's we have to go out and find someone else, and we'd like to find someone else on the most favorable terms possible to the long-term and short-term interests of the team, period. That's why they do it. And it will continue. And until there is a clear injury reporting requirement that would apply in the preseason, and there is not, which means there is much more inside information in the preseason, which really doesn't matter as to gambling, because I think the way the NFL looks at it, I know I look at it this way. Anybody who's betting on the preseason games, you should just go ahead and call the 800 number that's in fine print at the bottom of the screen, because you've got a problem if you're betting on NFL preseason games. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.